You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio on ESPN Radio 1700. Now, live in studio, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries. As we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media, this is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content today, let me just remind you that within every market there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities, and you just need some trusted guidance. That's my message. I deliver it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. We only chat. It's pretty simple. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. Let me remind you, though, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I'm the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money. I'm the one that works with you personally. And even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. So we are celebrating today. Yes, we always have something in mind to celebrate. I know it doesn't look like a celebration if you are following Wall Street. Yeah, Wall Street, a bloodbath. We saw that overnight. In the Asian markets, they took a tumble. Our stock market here taking a tumble. But we're going to still celebrate. It is Strawberry Ice Cream Day today. Ow! Not one of my favorites. I must admit, you know, I go a long way. I like a lot of things. I've beaten anorexia. I eat more than I should. But strawberry ice cream probably is not one of those items that is on the top of my list. One of the items that I do see that I kind of like, if we weren't here in the state of confusion, be a little more exciting to me, is gas prices. Now, I know that oil is down significantly. The oil market is really tumbling. Some people think that that might be a long-term positive. But boy, in the short term, it is hurting quite a bit. Yeah, down below $30 a barrel. There's a lot of countries that can't survive with that kind of a oil pricing, but it's a leading indicator. You know, right? Our gas prices right now, national average $1.92.5. Here in California, $2.80.2. 90 cents a gallon. We're paying more than the rest of the country. That hurts. But, you know, we can live with all of that. The issue that we have to really look at is, what is the global market telling us? Because we are part of a global market. What's happening? Where is the market going? The Commerce Department gave us a number of retail sales down 0.1%. Well, the consumer accounts for 70%, 70% of GDP comes from the consumer. When we see that retail sales are down that far, that is not a healthy signal for our economy. I know that the president told us the other night that our economy is just fine, and anybody that tells you differently is just peddling, I forgot what he said, they were peddling fantasies. Well, you know something? I have a feeling that the president might be himself the one that's out there. I loved Governor Christie's line last night when he was talking about at the debate. If you watched that debate, and I know that nobody's going to be watching the Democrat debate. They put theirs on a time when nobody is watching TV. They put it on stations that nobody even knows about. But last night, Governor Christie came up with the line of the night. It was story time with Barack Obama is the way he termed it from Tuesday night's State of the Union address. It's kind of interesting because one would anticipate that the President of the United States would have the best possible information. And when he starts talking about how great our economy is doing, and then we get numbers that come out today, Commerce Department showing a 0.1% decline in retail sales. We're seeing the Chinese stock market declined overnight. Global markets have followed. The U.S. market down earlier today. It was down about 400 points. We'll see where it ends. Oil prices down $30 a barrel. Every sector of retail sales, if you take out autos, it's still down. If you go against consensus, industrial production fell. The Empire State Regional Manufacturing Index declined greater than expected. Consumer sentiment, for some reason, I guess a lot of people in Michigan were listening to the president. That's the only area that we actually saw numbers that, the consumer sentiment wasn't as bad. So I'm not exactly sure of what the president might have been looking at. It certainly was not anything the rest of us are seeing. And then we see today, ironically enough, we've shared this with you before, that there's a lot of areas that are all excited about pushing up minimum wage. And then we see what happens when minimum wage gets pushed up. Now, Walmart decided that they were going to do that on their own. They were not going to follow the rest of the markets or wait for the markets. They were going to do it on their own. Well, what happened when Walmart did that on their own? Their sales numbers dropped radically. Their sales numbers dropped so far that today they announced they're going to close over 250 stores. Now, do you have any idea what closing over 250 stores does? Certainly, it tells us that the economy isn't so good. Their sales numbers did not absorb that $9 an hour or $10 an hour, whatever they raised their people to. It did not absorb those numbers. And what are they doing? They're closing the regional stores. The big one that they're closing is the Walmart Express. So the little local stores where you get service, where you get more people working, those are the stores they're closing. The big Walmart supercenters where you get less service, less people, more the club type atmosphere. Oh yeah, I know you get smaller packaging. You don't have to go buy the big packages that the clubs do. But it's a bigger shelf. You don't have to refill it as often. Instead of having an express, you're putting 3 or 4 of an item out. So if they sell those, they've got to replenish it every night. The bigger stores, they put more out. They don't have to replenish as frequently. Means less labor. You gotta watch the unintended consequences. And you get people going out there and saying, government can force the marketplace. Well, it doesn't work that way. The marketplace is supposed to drive the government. And until we start getting elected officials that understand this, the ones that really are getting hurt by this the most, it's our seniors. Your mother, your father, your grandparents, they're the ones that are feeling this the most. Why? They're living off of their retirement accounts, their 401ks, their IRAs. When you see the stock market down, and I'm looking right now, it's down 408 points as I'm speaking to you, down 408, down below 16,000. That's their retirement money. That's what they're planning on living the rest of their life on. Maybe they're going to end up having to go back to work. Oil down $1.73 a barrel right now, and the one that really hurts our seniors the most is the U.S. 10-year Treasury being down 6 basis points, 0.06%, down at just barely over 2%, and I believe it's going to go below 2%. Now that hurts our seniors. What does it do for you and me? Well, if you are one of the people that is looking right now at trying to refinance your house, if you're looking at a debt consolidation, well, you may be excited if you get off your tail end and do something. I've talked about that before. If you don't remember our discussion on debt consolidation, probably about 10,000 people have watched the replay on YouTube right now, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, where we really went into in depth on how that works, how it benefits you, We'll chat more about that. We're going to also talk about preparation for it, because I don't want you just to go and start doing a debt consolidation. Now, it makes sense for you to go for it, but some of these issues, it's a planning process, and we're going to talk about what you need to plan, because I'm going to answer your top 10 questions about credit scores. It's one of the biggest items we get asked all the time, credit scores. So we're going to talk about that in depth today. We've got some starter home tips for millennials and brilliant ways to invest, just even if it's just $500. And I'm also going to give you the date night trivia question presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel, and as I mentioned, YouTube. Ron Siegel 1 is where you find us there. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Ron Siegel Radio Date Night Trivia, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Friday, Ron will pose a question based on on-air conversations during the prior 7 programs. The person to post the answer according to the guest conversation will win a date night package, including a dinner gift card for Reunion Kitchen and Drink. You might even be able to say hi to Ron when you visit Reunion Kitchen and Drink.
It's not every day your home gets flooded, but when it happens, you've got the good people at Apris on your side. With over 25 years of construction and insurance experience, they can turn any disaster around, making your home good as new. For 24/7 support, call 844-GO-APRIS or find us on the web at www.apris.me. Day, night, rain, or shine, when it happens to you, you know what to do. Go Apris. Remember, call 844-GO-APRIS. That's 844-462-7747.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel Radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has the solutions for you. All you need to do is go to the website. It's right there, creditsanitizer.com. They will give you all the solutions. So we're going to get into some of the questions. I don't know how many of them we'll get to today as far as the questions that we get asked most frequently about your credit report. And you know that I do a lot of different items on the broadcast. One of the things, because we get asked so many questions about credit reports, I spend a lot of time on it. I study it. I talk to a lot of experts, FICO-trained experts on credit. And here's a number of the items that we're gonna really chat about today. What is considered a good credit score? So a real FICO score, not the FACO score, not a Vantage score, has a range of 300 to 850. That's for some reason, and I've been given a couple of different explanations. 300 to 850 is the common numbers that it ranged from. And the explanations of what that means, the last explanation, and a plausible one I must add, and it came from a reputable source, it's the number that the Bureau puts at the likelihood of you repaying a debt over the next 90 days. So if you had an 850 score, that's perfect. That's basically saying there's an 85% chance that you're going to repay that debt, any debt you incur over the next 90 days. You're going to be current on all your bills. Why do they say, why can't anybody have 100 then if that's perfect? Well, there's a lot of issues that are unknowns. You get hurt, you get in a car accident, you get hit by a bus. There's a lot of different issues. So there's nothing that's going to say guaranteed you're going to pay your bills. 850 is the top score. Must admit, I've never seen an 850. I know I've seen an 828. It might be an 834. I might have seen one of those as well. Good though, 680. 680 is considered good. Anything above 720 is considered excellent. Remember, there are 9 options for reports when you're getting a true FICO report. So there's 3 different main bureaus. There's Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. There's others, but those are the main ones that are going to deliver FICO reports. So if you want a mortgage report, there's 3 of them. If you want an auto report, you can go to those same 3 bureaus. The auto scores are rated differently. So they're going to give you a different 3 scores. And then there's a general that's used by credit card companies and others. There's another report. So there's another 3 there, 9 reports. Second item here. Will paying off debt and closing credit cards help my score? Well, that's a dual question. So the answer to that one is dual. Yes and no. Will paying off debt and closing credit cards help my score? It's always prudent to manage your debt, pay your balances down as low as possible. If you close a card that has a high limit, not balance, but a high limit, and it's an old card, you've had it for 10 plus years, 5 plus years, the likelihood is that's going to hurt your score. And I'll talk in a minute about where the score numbering comes from, what items go into making up that score. But you want to have your utilization rate, the percentage of your balance compared to your limit, as low as possible. The lower that number is, the better. The older the credit card is, the better. So that's why I say it's a yes and no question. The next one, I've had my credit pulled several times while shopping for a loan. Will that hurt my score? Well, again, there's some differences there. We're going to tell you in a minute what the percentages are, but it's basically that's going to affect your score by about 10% at the most. So if you've had your credit pulled a lot in a short period of time, unless it's prudent, and the reason I say prudent, if you're looking for a mortgage and it's pulled within a 2-week period, if you're out car shopping and it's pulled within a 2-week period, the bureaus look at that and say that is prudent. It makes sense. That's why you're doing it. You're wanting to get the best possible rates. That makes sense. So they're not going to ding you. They're going to hit you one time for each of those. But if you're going to 25 different credit card companies, and you're going to a furniture company and a car company and a mortgage company, and they're all pulling your credit at the same time, the bureaus look and say, hey, what's going on here? Why are they having so much credit pulled? Their algorithms, the bureaus don't do it. It's all automated. But their algorithms are going to look at that and say, okay, what's going on? So then you've got it's probably about a 10% possibility. So remember I told you that your score range is from 300 to 850. That's a 550-point swing. If you've done the worst possible job that you can, then what you're looking at is having 55 points off your score. Now, if you have 55 points off of an 850 score, you're at 795, and that is outstanding. So having that credit pulled so many times, a lot of people focus on that because that's one item that you can really deal with, and people focus on that, and it's probably not the best place to focus. It's not the most important place to focus. So yes, it does have a bearing on there. No, it's not the most important thing. A small dip doesn't really make a whole big difference, and by the time you know it, it's too late anyway. Number 4, what's the ideal debt ratio to get the best credit score? So I guess we better talk about debt ratio first. That's the number I mentioned before. Some people call it a debt ratio. Some will look at it as a utilization. So you're taking your balance. So you've got a $300 balance on a $1,000 credit card. That's 30% debt ratio, 30% credit utilization. And if you're staying below 30%, that's going to have some positive effects on your score. If you're below 10%, that's great for your score. So we're going to talk about how you increase your score as well. But think about that ratio, and that will help increase your score. You can manipulate that a little bit in certain ways. So we notice that people with 700s or even 800s in their FICO scores, they're generally going to be below 10 to 30% on that utilization number. When you start getting at 50 to 70% or more, you're going to be hurting your credit scores. You're going to hinder that score. It's going to detract from the score. Well, why is that? The bureaus realize that if you don't want your credit cards to be that high. It's because you don't have enough income coming in to pay them down. Nobody wants to have their credit cards maxed out paying 20, 30% interest. That's not what you're looking for. If that's the case, then act on it. If you have money in the bank and can pay your ratios, get those ratios down, that's going to help you in the long run. Get those ratios down is going to help your credit scores. And then when you go to buy something, you're going to get a lower interest factor there as well. So the big question then comes up is what are the numbers, Ron? Tell me what goes into my credit score? Well, this is as close as we can tell. Nobody's going to be able to, I shouldn't say that. FICO themselves can tell you what their model is, but they don't. They can tell you precisely what percentages go and build your score. But when you look at enough credit reports, when you've dealt with this enough, you talk to enough people, you can come up with a pretty good understanding. 30% credit is accounted for in credit utilization. So remember, I told you you're on a 550-point scale. 30% is 165 points, comes from credit utilization. We just talked about that one. 35% comes from payment history. So they want to make sure that you're paying your bills on time. That's why I've shared with you many, many times, if you have a balance on your credit cards and you understand what your minimum payment is, round it off to the next even 25 above. So if you've got a minimum payment of $39, round it off to $50, go into your bank's bill pay system and set it up to send a payment every single month for that amount. That way your history, which is 35% of your credit score, is going to be the best possible score. Now, we can't account for everything, But that's going to be dealing with it is your history. How long have you been making payments and making payments on time? How old is that credit card? If you look at your credit report, you also want to look and make sure, because this is a big area that we see errors in the report. I'm going to have to save that big area of errors until we get back, because you are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. We're talking about your credit score. How do you build it? How do you develop? We'll also talk some starter home tips for millennials and some ways to save an extra $500. That's a good place to start. You can reach me anytime. Call our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel, and on YouTube, it's Ron Siegel 1. I don't know why someone else got Ron Siegel before me, so I'm number 1. Ron Siegel 1 right there on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel lending team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel lending team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel lending team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL lendingteam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Southern California attorneys have over 15,000 real estate agents to call in Orange County for their personal and professional needs. Why do they overwhelmingly call Melinda Johnson? Simple. It's the Melinda Johnson trifecta. Melinda is an attorney, real estate broker, and realtor. Does your family deserve the same professional services California lawyers demand? Call Melinda Johnson at 714-863-5485. That's 714-863-5485. Or on the web at freedomfirstproperties.com. Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel lending team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel lending team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694552.
37% of American homeowners believe they have over 20% equity in their homes. Fannie Mae tells us 69% of American homeowners have over 20% equity in their homes. Fully 1 in 3 American homeowners are not informed about the amount of equity they have in their homes. Are you one of them? How might this be holding you back from achieving your goals? Text RSR CMA to 79564 to get a property valuation from one of the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Again, to know how much your home is really worth, simply text RSR CMA to 79564.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. If you want the true value of your home, all you need to do is text PAIR, P-E-A-R, Professional Equity Analysis Review, to 79564. You can get the true value of your home if you are considering selling your home. That's why you're looking for the value. I don't know if I've got the right one. Oh, yeah, the right one's right there. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv or the YouTube channel, you can get a free copy of Things to Consider When Selling Your Home. All you need to do is text HSG, Home Seller's Guide, to 79564. HSG to 79564. We'll get you a copy of the Home Seller's Guide. Complimentary. It's no expense. It's we put that out every quarter just for you. So what are some starter home tips for millennials with student loan debt? Heard in the State of the Union this past week from the president that the student loans are capped out at 10% of your income. So I haven't checked that myself. I did hear the president say that, so I'm assuming it's fairly accurate. They do look at some other factors from what I've been led to believe also is what are your expenses? So if you're in debt, you've got student loan debt, the idea is try to work a way to get a small home. And here again, you're looking at intuition. If you're looking at a starter home, you can get one 3% down, 3.5% down, and you're not as interested in the interest rate at that time as most people look at it and say, oh, the only thing I care about is the interest rate, Ron. I want a low interest rate. And I agree, you don't want to overpay, you don't want to be stupid. But let me ask you this. Once you get into that home, maybe you're paying a little bit more than what your rent would be, you get a hold of the education department and talk to them about where your debts are, what your mortgage is, what your payments are, and then you go and you try and talk to them about helping you with that payment, with your student loan payment. It's not like the government's looking to try and strap you and put you behind the 8 ball. So some people, you buy a home in a less expensive market, short term, go and get the loan that you can, go to the government, see about getting that, or the Department of Education, get your loan balances consolidated, and then move along from there. And you can possibly even restructure that loan to a lower rate once you've got a lower payment on that. Now, a lot of people think you have to have 20% down. No, you don't. 3%, 3.5% are veterans. You've got a 0% down payment option. Pay down debts while starting to save. Pay them down strategically. We're talking about that a lot this morning as we're talking about the top 10 questions we get on credit. Save every bit of found money. Here's an item right here. Put as much as you can into your IRA. Now, you know me, I'm not a fan of IRAs, but put as much as you can in there and then either borrow that money or take the money out when you're buying a house. You got to talk to a tax professional to make sure it's legal and strategic. That's why we've got the area trusted professionals for all of you. Text ATP to 79564. You'll get a household board of directors. But put that money away so that you don't even see it and do it as pre-tax dollars. Yes, if you use it later, depending upon your 401k, your IRA, you might be able to borrow from that, make a payment back to that IRA or 401k, but it's your money. So you're paying interest back to yourself. Who cares? But you're doing that with pre-tax dollars. It's better for you. It's a forced savings account for you. Look for bargains. Don't rush into anything. There's just a few of the ways right there. Some tips for millennials with student loan debt to buy their own house. We want everybody to own their own house as long as you can afford it. We don't want to go back to the days of 2008, 2009, where everybody that could not afford a house owned a house. That was not the idea. The idea is to go back to the days when those who can afford it, who can document their income, who can make the payments, have an opportunity to enjoy the American dream, because statistics are telling us that, yes, people still want to own their own home. It doesn't matter whether you're 22 years old or 72 years old. People want to own their own home. It is still the American dream. So before the break, we were talking about 10 questions about your credit. They're the top 10 that we get asked us at Ron Siegel Radio on a regular basis. We're talking about the credit history. We were talking about how you can increase your credit score and benefit from understanding these ratios that I shared with you, or percentages. The percentages that affect your credit score: 30% credit utilization, 35% payment history, 10% mix of credit, 10% new credit, and 15% length of credit history. So we talked about the utilization, we talked about payment history, mix of credit. The bureaus want to know that you're stable. So when you've got a mortgage, they believe that you're going to be stable in the similar location. When you've got some installment debt and you've got some revolving debt. What is installment debt? That's your cars. So studies have shown us the best mix: 3 credit cards, 2 car payments, 1 mortgage. That's going to get you the best ratios. Now, as long as you continue making those payments and you're making those payments on time. That's your mix of debt. 10% of your score goes to new credit, opening new accounts, and new accounts deemed riskier. Therefore, they lower your credit score. So if you know you're going to be buying a house or a car come this spring, don't go open a new credit card at some furniture store today. It's not going to help you. Now, when we go back up to the very top, we'll do that in a minute. 15% length of credit history goes back to the same thing as new credit. One of the big items that I see regularly on credit reports when we look at them is you have a credit card that you opened in 2005, but they're showing on there the months of activity as being 47. Well, let me look and think about that. 2005 is 10 years ago, 11 years ago, and it's showing only 47 months of history. Well, that's an error on the report. It needs to be corrected. When they bring that up to the maximum that they can put in that field is 99. When they bring that up to a score of 99, it's going to help your credit score. For some reason, we see a jump when a credit card has been opened over 4 years, when it's got 4 years of history. So you want to be taking a look at that. Is it reporting properly? I've shared this with you before. I've been looking at credit reports since the 90s. I have never seen one that's completely accurate. Even the people that had the high 830 score, 820 score, the exceptional credit, still able to see errors on those reports. How many addresses are on there? How many variations of your name are on there? I've been fighting with one of the bureaus on my name alone, because my middle name, I'm not going to tell you my middle name, but the first 2 letters are I and V. So for some reason, they've got me down as Ron Siegel 4. Well, I don't know who 1, 2, and 3 are, but that's the way they've got it. So I'm trying to get them to correct it. It's not Ron Siegel IV. A little goofy, but those are errors on the report. They should be corrected. The bureaus start wondering, why do you have so many aliases? So get those things correct. Why do you have so many addresses? Do you move really frequently? That's not stability. That's not what the bureaus want to see. So how do you increase your score if you don't have any money? Well, if your utilization rate is such that, and you've got a good history, you might contact the existing credit card company that you're with and ask them to increase your balance. Don't use it. Just increase not the balance, but the limit. See, when you don't use it and you have a higher limit, that's going to bring, if you remember at the very beginning, I talked about the credit utilization, that ratio of your debt. Well, if you had that $300 balance on a $1,000 card, that's 30% utilization. But if they raise that to $2,000, Well, guess what? Now you've got 15% utilization. Your score should be helped a little bit there. Think about doing that across the board with your credit cards. Now, short term, there might be some hits there because if you have all your credit cards increasing their limits at the same time, they're all hitting your credit report. You may end up getting some dings there for inquiries. But again, the inquiries there is not going to be the major issue because they have a right to do a soft inquiry. If they've got your credit card or if they've got your business, they do what's called a soft inquiry. They're trying to find out, are you still living where you are? Is there anything material that's changed in your situation? Are there circumstances that they need to know about? Maybe they're going to cancel your credit card. Maybe they're going to increase your credit line. Those are things they're doing on a regular basis. Still got a few more of these to go. We're going to chat about them. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. We're also going to talk about that date night trivia question presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. It's going to be an interesting one today. I've seen it. You can reach me anytime. Call our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area-trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you have a loved one who wants to stay in their home, but you have health concerns about it? The Preferred Care team understands the challenges of caring for your loved ones. Their goal is to keep seniors as independent as possible while maintaining their health, safety, and overall well-being. Whether you need just a few hours a week or 24-hour care, Preferred Care caregivers are trained to meet your needs. Call Preferred Care at 714-696-9150. That's 714-696-9150. Or visit preferredcare.com.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. You still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com, or simply call 800-306-1990.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Get rid of the old car blues with a 1.48% APR auto loan with no payments for 90 days from California Coast Credit Union. Details at calcocu.org. Restrictions apply.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message. And as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Word on Wealth segment today being brought to you by the area trusted professionals, your household board of directors of Ron Siegel Radio. There are a lot of area trusted professionals that you need, or household board of director members that you need. I'm going to suggest to you, every major company I know or every major company I have seen, they all have a board of directors. Why? What makes you think that you would not need one yourself? Just a thought there for you to consider. And how do you get it? You have to go out and interview all these people to get that information? No, you don't have to interview them all. You don't have to go and get all of them yourself. You just text ATP to 79564. Text ATP to 79564. There's about a 2-minute survey there to see what's appropriate for you. Is there a real estate agent you need to meet? Mortgage person, reverse mortgage, tax planner, financial planner, CPA, estate planning, attorney, credit repair. All these people are part of your household board of directors. You need to be considering who's going to help you accomplish your goals, achieve your objectives. So what are some ways to invest an extra $500? I'm going to share with you. That would be chatting with I don't give financial advice. I can tell you a few different items here. I don't give financial advice. I used to be licensed with Merrill Lynch, have a Series 7 license, so I could do that kind of stuff. I am not licensed there any longer, so I would tell you to go and talk to one of the professionals that we have identified depending upon your situation. Invest in an exchange-traded fund is one of them. That way you get a big basket, you get some diversification. You might want to start a business. Invest in dividend-paying stocks. Right now, I shared with you earlier that the 10-year Treasury is at just barely above 2%. I believe it's going to go below 2%. Well, with that being the case, you might want to be looking at that. Peer-to-peer lending. There are some options out there for peer-to-peer lending in a small way. There's a lot of different opportunities. You just have to be smart about it. We've talked about the peer-to-peer lending. Patrick Vandenbos was on our program last year talking about that, where he's setting up a company that is doing just that, peer-to-peer lending, so you can do the small investments. But again, you need to find out what makes sense for you, that it's all part of your household plan. That is the Word on Wealth segment, again brought to you by the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text ATP to 79564. Date night trivia. It's presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Great restaurant. They've got a gift card for the person that comes up with the correct answer. Now, being the easiest way for me to understand to do this, go to Ron Siegel Radio on Facebook. Be the third person to post the correct answer. I talked about this, I believe, on Wednesday. What's the best way to get all of the real estate professionals in your area to show your home once it's listed on the MLS, once it's listed for sale? What is the best way to get all real estate professionals in your area to show your house when it's listed on the MLS? Very, very simple, 2 words. And I think most of you will understand what those are. But that is the Ron Siegel Radio Date Night Trivia question presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. If you're the third person to put the correct answer on Ron Siegel Radio, right there on Facebook, Ron Siegel Radio. I've got a lot of Facebook pages, but you got to go to Ron Siegel Radio, post it right there, and you'll get that dinner for 2. It's, I think, a $100 gift card to Reunion Kitchen and Drink. There's movie tickets in the package. There's some Starbucks, a gift card in the package as well. It's a nice little package for date night trivia presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Great folks over there. They got some new locations opening too. So make sure you check them out. So we're going to get through the last of our items that we've been chatting about here, and got to get you this information on answering your top 10 questions about credit scores. How will a late payment hurt my credit score? Well, you want to avoid late payments at all costs. 35% of your score is based on your payment history. If you pay late, your score is going to drop anywhere from 80 to 100 points typically. But you want to stay away from that 90-day late, which is real cause of damage for your score. Again, look at it as early as you can. Set up those minimum payments. Nowadays it's so simple to beat this system. And I don't want to just say that we're trying to trick it, but I want you to be educated and understand the process. Go in there to your bank and set it up. If I am married or a co-signer on a loan and the other person defaults, in the state of confusion here in the state of California, married or co-signer, you are in trouble, because think about that. That's where you're really looking at, it's a community property state. You don't get much of a choice there. You are liable for those expenses. So be careful where you do that. If you're married and you're getting divorced, your name has to come off of everything. And I know you follow the law and you follow the judge, but the lending institutions go above and beyond. Judges will tell you, and we're going to talk next week on Thursday a lot about divorce, but judges will tell you the law is the minimum standard. Minimum. So companies can go above and beyond the law. When you're talking about having a mortgage and you've got this issue there with your mortgage and you're trying to get a new loan and you got divorced and your name's still on that old one, even though your ex is responsible for the payment, the mortgage company is going to hit you with that rate in the payment in your ratios. So you need to make sure that as part of your divorce decree, you're getting your name off that mortgage completely. Your ex needs to refinance. Call us 800-306-1990. We'll show you how to do that and what it means. But it's very, very important to get your name off. And the reason is that the lending companies do not want to be involved in an enforcement. What does that mean? It means they have to go to court to get that judgment, your divorce decree, enforced. And they don't want to be involved in it. What does FICO mean? People sometimes get confused as different entities that are involved with your credit reporting and scoring. So we're going to clear that up. FICO, Fair Isaac Corporation. Fair Isaac Corporation. They're the main credit reporting company. 3 bureaus, they go with them and they'll talk to them and they'll report to them. But that's where it is. If I had a bankruptcy, foreclosure, or judgment against me, is my credit ruined for life? No, in many instances, if you have a bankruptcy, your credit score is actually going to be enhanced. It's going to get better. And the reason being is, why did you go in bankruptcy? Well, it's because you had too much debt in most instances. You had judgments against you in most instances. Well, a lot of those things go away through bankruptcy, and you can't file again for another 7 or 8 years. So a Chapter 7 is going to stay on your report for 10 years from the date filed. Chapter 13 is going to be on there for 7 years from the date discharged, or a maximum of 10 years. Charge-offs, judgments, those things are going to stay on there for 7.5 years from the first missed payment. Now, those are the law. The issue that I'm going to share with you is there are errors made on people's credit reports every single day. So while it is the law, you got to make sure you're staying on top of it. You've got to look at your credit report and get a copy of it and make sure that the dates that are the legal dates are being adhered to. Number 10, do I have to pay to check my credit score? No. But be careful of all the offers for free credit reports and scores. A lot of them are what I call a FACO score. They're not giving you a legitimate FICO score. They're giving you the fake score. So if you want a fair and accurate credit, according to the law, it's called the FACT Act, Fair Accurate Credit Transactions Act, you're eligible to receive a copy of your credit report once each year from each of the 3 major credit bureaus by going to www.annualcreditreport.com, www.annualcreditreport.com. It's going to show you your credit history, but not your scores. You'll be able to monitor them from there. If you're turned down for credit, then you can get your reports and it'll give you information on how to do that. And if you want a copy of your credit report, you can go right on Siegel Lending Team, Siegel, lendingteam.com. There's a link there under Credit 101 that you can get a copy of your credit report, a legitimate copy. SiegelLendingTeam.com. That'll give you that information for a real copy, a true and accurate copy of your credit report. There's the top 10. If you want to have other questions about credit scoring, give me a holler, 800-306-1990. If I don't know the answer, I know the place to get them. If you want to work on your credit report, creditsanitizer.com. That's the place to work on your credit report. And be sure to set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Steve, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. If you miss any part of our broadcast, all you have to do is go to youtube.com/Ron Siegel Run 1. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
Pour me something tall and strong, make it a hurricane before I go insane. It's on